Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again. This is our third tutorial on Keep It Lit, and I'm just going to keep going here and working through the various features that you can use for the virtual tabletop. So I dropped in this particular room and just drawing these map lines here, and I wanted to show you a couple of other nice features. One I'd like to show you is how we add doors to our maps. So I don't have a door actually on this map, but I'm just going to assume that maybe on your map, maybe you do have a graphic for a door here, or maybe you just want to add a door anyway on the map, and just sort of assume that maybe the artist didn't draw it in. So let's do that. I'm going to go first of all to our vertex mode here, and I'm going to zoom in right here to where I want to add the door. And let's say I want to put it here between these two vertex points, and I'm just going to select one of them like that, and then I'm going to press the shift button down and then left mouse click right here, and that'll just add in a new segment between there. If I really want to try to make it throw some shadows, I can click right here and add a vertex, and right here and make it a smaller door that just fits in the hallway if I want to get down to that level of detail. I don't have to do that, but it's just kind of up to you. Now, I want to put in a door right there. So how do I do that? I'm going to go over here to the wall mode, click on that, and now you can see the vertex points disappear, but I can select wall segments. So I'm going to select this segment here, and it turns green when it's selected, just like vertex will turn green when they are selected. And now over here on the sidebar, you can see we have a new ability called Make Door. So I'm just going to click that. We have a door. By default, the door is closed. And if I, just click somewhere else on the map, that's kind of what it will look like. Now, this is what it looks like from the DM's perspective. This is the icon the DM will see. Now, the players will not see this. They will just see a flat wall in this case. If there was a graphic there actually drawn on the map that looks like a door, you kind of want to make your line go right through the center of the graphic to make sure that it does appear to be a door from the player's perspective on both sides. And a good example of that would be like up here at the top of this map, if I go over here. So this looks very much more like a door. You can actually see the hinge on either side, and you can see the handles of the door, and it's a double door. In this case, what I would typically do is I'm going to go back to vertex mode, and we'll just start off here in the corner. Shift button down, left uh, mouse button, and I'm going to click here and here and here and here, and we'll just do this little segment here. Okay, I'm going to straighten these out a little bit just by dragging the vertices around. Okay, I want the doors to open right there, and I'm going to put a hinge right here, and I'll put a hinge right there, and then I can go to wall mode, select this one, and say make a door, select this one, make another door, and now I've got a double door. All right, so when the players are traversing this map, if these doors open, we double click, and our doors open, or they close. Okay, you just double click them to open and close them. The DM can do that. Players cannot open and close doors directly. Um, That's just kind of a bit of a design philosophy. As a DM, you can decide, are the doors locked? Do they need to pick the lock? Are the doors stuck and they need to be kicked in? What do they want to do? Then typically, when I'm playing on the virtual tabletop, the players will ask me, that they want to interact with the door somehow. I want to listen at the door. I want to check for traps. I want to pick the lock. I'm going to open the door just a crack to peer in. Whatever they're going to do. But as a DM, I'm going to control when the door actually opens. I don't want the players to open things and have spoilers when, say, my attention is diverted somewhere else helping another character while we're playing. So the other thing you can do is you can right click on the door and you can say lock it. And this is just for the DM to remember that the door is locked. And so, of course, now if I double click it, nothing happens. I have to right click and unlock it first, and then I can double click to open and close it. So if you do have doors that are locked ahead of time, you can make sure that those are indicated on the map for your view as the DM. Let's go back down here to our door. I'm going to add another one actually down here. Again, we'll go into our vertex mode. I'm going to select this and draw in another piece of wall segment here. We'll divide it down again as I zoom in, snap these in here, go back to wall mode, select this and go make a door. Okay, so now we have two doors in this room. I will unselect that. Let's get a preview of what this might look like now. So I'm going to go turn off our walls and turn on our lighting effects, and the fighter's torch timer is still running. Um, Again, the player character is not going to see this door. Only the DM sees it, but the player will look at it and say, "Well, I can see these two structures here. Maybe that is a door." The DM can certainly clarify, "Yes, of course, that's a door." All right. So when the player comes to that point and they have now decided to open the door, the DM clicks on it, course, the light shines into the room. Now the player can enter the room and explore the space with their light, and they could close the door, open it again, come back out, close the door, DM can lock it. Okay? Go over here, open the door, light floods through. They're in this sort of kitchen storeroom before they go into this sort of cave area. Explore the room, close the door, open the door, and off we go. So that's how we do doors. So they work pretty nicely. I think you'll find that they're pretty convenient to use. I have, as I said before, I've been playing with this VTT for quite a while now, and I'm pretty happy with the way these work. Now, what else can we do besides doors? Well, there's a couple of interesting things we can do, and I will show you this just sort of through, and this is not maybe very realistic for how you might use it, but I will show you this just so you can see some of the features. Go back to our vertex mode, and I'm going to sort of drop in this cave area here. So I'm going to go shift. Well, let's first of all, we'll drop a vertex here and here, and then I'm going to select this one, and I'll go shift, and I'm going to just hold the shift button down and draw this in with the left mouse button, moving the mouse around to get the shape right, and we'll just connect it there. Okay. Now I'm going to go to wall mode because I want to manipulate this wall. Some things we can do with this. We could make it, a door. That kind of doesn't make sense in this context, but let's see what else we might be able to do. We can make it different types of walls. We can make it an illusionary wall. Okay, let's look at that one first. So now if I turn on the lighting effects and I turn off our walls, so those are not visible. Oh, I need to turn off the wall editor. Okay, so now the walls are not visible. So from the player's perspective, they're moving around this room, doing whatever they're going to do. If they should pop through here, they have now stepped through an illusionary wall. So you can use that for a variety of effects. If you wanted to have literally an illusionary wall, you could certainly do that. And the players can actually discover that as they're moving their tokens around the map. Maybe that's useful to you. The other thing we can do, we'll turn the walls back on, our lighting back on. I'm going to go back to wall editor, and I will select this wall segment. Now it's illusionary, but we could make it a transparent wall. This is to emulate things like glass, but also you could use this for like railings on a balcony where you don't want the players to be able to cross a boundary, okay? But they can see through it. So the illusionary wall blocks light, but allows players to move through it. The transparent wall does not block light, but prevents players from moving through it. So I'm going to turn that off, and we'll go back to lighting, turn off our walls. Now we have a transparent wall, and you can see that I cannot move the character through the transparent wall, but they are free to see into that space. Okay, so that's how that works. All right, a couple other things I will cover in this video, and then we'll wrap. So if I right-click out here in space, just anywhere on the map, I can just right-click, and I have the ability to add tokens, so I can add my monster tokens. I can also add an entity, and I want to talk about those right now. What is an entity? Well, an entity could be a light source. So if I click on this, you're going to get a little light bulb here. I know that's not much in the fantasy sort of setting, but it's very clear what this is, right? So I have a light source. Now if I turn on lighting and I turn off my walls, the current torch is the only thing lit for this fighter character. This light is not turned on yet. But as the DM, if I want to have a static light in the environment, I can do that. So I'm going to click on this light, and I will see over here on the edit sidebar that I can make it a torch timer, so I could make this a timed light if I wanted to, or I can just turn it on, and I can set its radius here with the type of light. It's either a torch, it's a lantern, or static. I'm going to say it's static, and this is the on-off switch. I'm going to turn it on. So now this is a static light source not associated with a token at all. It's more like an environmental light, like a wall sconce or a candelabra or a chandelier. In this case, what I'm going to do is make it radiating light from the summoning circle. So I'm going to go over this, and I'm going to change the color of it. So I'm going to make it kind of a green light. And so I will sort of, I don't know, pick a color that looks pretty good. We'll just have it kind of be a soft glow. Maybe the radius of this one is too large, so I'm going to change the scale to like, I don't know, 0.5. Let's try that. Okay, so now it's kind of glowing right around the summoning circle. Okay, so now if I go back to the fighter here, the fighter comes down this hallway and he looks around and he can see now this glowing green summoning circle. If the fighter did not have a torch, I can just turn off his torch temporarily. He could come down the hallway in complete darkness, and when he comes into this room, he will see just that static glowing torch or light emanating from the circle. Okay, so that's how we can add lights, which is kind of nice to be able to do that. Maybe you've got candles burning here around the summoning circle or something like that. You're free to do that. I don't really recommend that for Shadow Dark because really you want to, as they will say in the rule book for Shadow Dark, you want to attack the light. So providing static lights that are on in your dungeons is probably not a great idea because then even if the torches burn out or their lanterns run out of fuel, they still have a way to have some light. And in Shadow Dark, to create the right effect that the designers were shooting for, of course, you really don't want to provide any free light to the party. Uh, so anyway, moving on, let me show you some other things you can do. Now I'm going to right click again and say add entity, and this time I'm going to add an annotation. Annotations are kind of cool. They look like a little clipboard here, and you can do various things with them. Now, one thing you can do is if I double click it, I have the ability to add notes. So I could say this is now room 13, and I can add some text description, whatever I want. I can turn on word wrapping. I can add the entire room description, describe traps, talk about whatever monsters are in here, anything I want to add. A lot of times, if I have a small dungeon, I will actually open the PDF from the dungeon that I purchased and copy the text literally out of the room description and drop it in here. Any other, DCs or checks the players need to make, traps that spring, whatever I want to do, and I can just add all those notes in here. And then I can just close this window. So the title stays with the annotation. I can put it off the edge of the map. Of course, the players never see this. This is only for the DM to see. And then if you double click it at any time, I can get right back to the text that I've added. So this is really nice because it allows me to take a published dungeon with the PDF, like I said, and I could cut and paste in all of the room descriptions here. And now I never even have to go back to the PDF if I don't want to. I can keep it all right in front of me. It's really, really handy. I can make as many of these as I want. I can just keep adding them. Now, here's a new annotation that I just made for room 13, but this time I'm going to double click it, and instead of adding text here, I'm going to add just a note here to say what it is, and I'm going to set an image. And I'm going to add an image file, and I don't know, let's just add this image here. Well, it's pretty big. Let's add a token. This will just illustrate what I'm talking about here. I'm just going to add this barbarian with a maul. This is not intended to be a token. It could be any piece of art that you're interested in. So I'm going to click that. Now, what I've done here is I've created an image, and when I double click it, instead of the text, I can say present image. And when I click on that, this image will now be presented to all of the players, whether they're playing online or playing in person. I can now use this for like player handouts. Maybe they find a note. Maybe they find some clue. Maybe they find a magic item and you want to show a picture of it. Maybe they encounter some horrible monster and you want to show a picture of what the monster looks like. You can do this with this annotation feature. Then I can say stop presenting image. So I can control whether I'm presenting it or not presenting it just by toggling this. And then of course I can remove the image if I want to. But I'll just close it, and now I've got this image ready to go, and I can drag it anywhere on the map and then I want to reveal this to the players. Okay, so we have triggers, which really aren't fully operational yet. So we'll just highlight this. This is going to allow us to do eventually things like sound effects or cause changes to maps like doors to unlock when certain things are activated. All kinds of different things we'll be able to set up that are triggers that relate and link different parts of the map to one another. And then finally, exit. Now, this does not mean exit the menu here. This is an exit like this. And what this allows us to do is create a exit and entry point between two different maps within a campaign. So to show you more specifically what I mean by that is, I'll turn this lighting back on. Let's suppose that I want to go from this stairway to a new map. I might create an exit right here. All right, and then I can link this, and I'll have a separate video that'll show you how to do that, show you how to do this. But I can link this to another exit on another map. And then if I double click this when the party comes up the stairway, it will reload the new map and place them at the corresponding linked exit point. So now I can make like a dungeon that has multiple levels that the party can traverse through. They go level 1 to level 2, level 2 to level 3. They can go from level 3 back to level 2, and then from 2 back to 1 again. But these linkages just connect maps together. We call them an exit. We may rename those as we redesign the user interface, but that's basically the intent and how those will work. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Please tune into the next one, and I'll show you some more details about Keep It Lit. Take care.